Right now, somewhere in your chest, there is a name you cannot stop thinking about. A person you didn't choose to want. You just woke up one day already wanting them. The ancient Greeks had an explanation for that feeling, and it wasn't romantic at all.
They believed a goddess decided it for you. Without asking. Without your permission. The same way she decided it for gods, for kings, for entire wars. Her name was Aphrodite. And she controlled every heart on earth except the one beating in her own chest. This is the story of the goddess who had power over love itself, and was never once allowed to use it on herself.
You have felt it before. That specific, illogical pull towards someone your mind cannot fully justify. You've made lists of reasons it makes no sense. You've told yourself to stop. You haven't stopped.
Modern neuroscience has a name for what's happening in your brain in that moment. A 2005 study by biological anthropologist Helen Fisher at Rutgers University used MRI scans to show that early-stage romantic attraction activates the same dopamine pathways as cocaine. Your brain does not experience falling for someone as a choice. It experiences it as a chemical event happening to you. The ancient Greeks didn't have fMRI machines. But they had the same observation. They just gave the chemical event a face, a name, and a temper. Aphrodite. And once you understand who she actually was, the myth stops being a love story. It becomes something much closer to a warning. Here's the part almost nobody tells you at parties. Aphrodite's origin story, according to Hesiod's Theogony, is not soft. The Titan Cronus castrated his own father Uranus and threw the severed remains into the sea. From the sea foam where they landed, Aphrodite rose, fully formed, already beautiful, already powerful. The goddess of love was born from an act of violence against a father. You weren't taught that version in school. Most people picture her gently arriving on a seashell, soft-lit, serene. The actual myth is closer to a body horror origin story dressed up as romance. Love, in the Greek imagination, didn't come from tenderness. It came from chaos. And maybe that's more honest than the seashell version. Because you already know love doesn't always arrive gently in your own life either. Sometimes it arrives in the wreckage of something else ending. Sometimes it arrives uninvited, inconvenient, at the worst possible moment. The Greeks encoded that truth directly into her birth. Here is where the irony becomes almost unbearable. Zeus, fearing that Aphrodite's beauty would cause endless war among the gods if she remained unmarried and desired by all, arranged her marriage himself. Not to someone she loved. To Hephaestus, the god of the forge, skilled, intelligent, but lame, soot-covered, and by most ancient accounts, considered the least physically desirable of all the Olympians. You read that correctly. The goddess who controlled every act of desire on earth had her own marriage decided for her, by someone else, for political convenience. Think about what your own body does when you're forced into a situation your heart never agreed to. The tightness in your chest. The specific exhaustion of performing a role you didn't audition for. Now imagine being the literal embodiment of romantic choice, and having none of your own. She could ignite desire in anyone on Olympus. She could not generate it for the one man she was bound to. This wasn't a footnote in her story. It was the engine of almost everything that happened next. Aphrodite found what she couldn't feel for Hephaestus somewhere else entirely, Ares, the god of war. Violent, impulsive, magnetic in exactly the way her husband wasn't. For a while, it worked, in the way forbidden things often do. Then Hephaestus found out. And instead of confronting them directly, he did something much colder. He built a net of metal links so fine they were invisible, suspended it above his own marriage bed, and waited. According to Homer's Odyssey, he caught them together, then called every god in Olympus to come witness the humiliation in real time. Not privately. Publicly. The other gods reportedly laughed. The goddess of desire, exposed and ensnared, while an audience of immortals watched and laughed at the one thing she couldn't control. You've likely never been trapped under a literal net in front of an audience. But you know the specific shame of being exposed for wanting something you weren't supposed to want. Of having a private ache made public, made into entertainment for people who were never going to feel what you felt. That humiliation is one of the oldest human experiences there is. The Greeks just gave it divine scale. Here's where the myth turns from embarrassing to genuinely tragic. Aphrodite's later relationship with the mortal Adonis is often told as a beautiful tragedy, a goddess who fell so deeply for a human man that she fought to keep him alive, even negotiating with the underworld itself to share his time between the living world and the dead. She succeeded in nothing permanent. Adonis died young regardless, gored by a boar. Most versions attribute, directly or indirectly, to a jealous god's interference. Stop and sit with what that means. The single being in all of Greek mythology with literal divine authority over desire and devotion could not protect the one person she actually, voluntarily, chose to love. She could make any god or mortal fall for anyone she wished. She could not make death let go of the one she wished for herself. Power over love and power over loss were never the same power. Not for her. Not for you. You can want someone with everything you have and still be completely unable to keep them. That's not a flaw in your love. The goddess of love herself couldn't do it either. Here is the part of this story that should genuinely sit with you. Aphrodite was never written as evil. She wasn't punished for cruelty. Her suffering came from something far more familiar, wanting control over the one part of life that refuses to be controlled by anyone, mortal or divine. You inherited that exact tension. The part of you that wants to plan, choose, and logically decide who deserves your heart, and the part of you that falls anyway, for reasons your conscious mind never approved. Even the goddess who invented desire never got to choose who broke her heart. So tell me, and I want the honest answer, not the comfortable one. Is there someone in your life right now you didn't choose to want, the way Aphrodite never chose Ares, never chose to lose Adonis, never chose any of it? The goddess of love spent eternity loving without permission from her own logic. Maybe that was never a curse. Maybe that's just what love actually is.